Yeah. YouTube. What's up, baby? We're back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I'm Callie, and today we're here to talk about The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 8, entitled Chapter 24. So I watched this last night. At that time, they didn't have the title, the full title. Like I said, sometimes when you go back and if you go back and watch it right now, it'll have the full title, but it doesn't have the full title. It didn't have the full title when I watched it last night. All right. So as far as I knew, it was just The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 8, Chapter 24. But if you've been to this channel before, you already know what we do. We started off with the premise, 3 favorite scenes, the grade, and then we on to the next one. But again, this is The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 8, Chapter 24. And this is the season finale for Season 3. Alright? So for this episode, we start off with Bo-Katan and, the other Mandalorians that were running with her. And Bo-Katan ends up getting into contact with Axe, and she ends up informing him of, everything that just transpired, right? And then we see Bo and the others take out Gideon's soldiers. And then we see Mando getting carried away, probably to like a holding chamber, right? And he ends up waking up, and then he ends up fighting the soldiers that were carrying him to the chamber. And then, of course, he ends up escaping. And so from there, he meets up with Grogu. And then they both run off, and they're looking for Gideon, all right? Then we see, Bo and the other Mandalorians get into contact with Mando, and now they know that Mando is safe, and also he's with Grogu. And then the armor ends up sending a message to Bo-Katan, letting her know that, hey, I'm coming back. I'm here now. I got a fleet of Mandalorians to come help out. So Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians, they end up taking refuge for a second, but after they get the news, they end up taking off and meeting up with the armor and the rest of the other Mandalorians to take on Gideon's troops. Okay? So as they take off, we see that Gideon's troops are also following behind them in ships. Gideon ends up finding out that Mando escapes, and not only does he find out that Mando escapes, but he ends up having this tracker that shows the exact location of where they're at. So he ends up going after them alone. So Mando and Grogu continue to, sneak around. And then we see that R5-D4 arrives, and he gets into contact with Mando and ends up trying to help him to escape to where he needs to go to. And then we see Axe then tells all the other Mandalorians to leave the main Empire ship that they took over. He tells them to leave because is being fully attacked by other Gideon ships. So he ends up staying in the ship by himself, and it's getting attacked so badly, bro, to the point where it ends up being that like the ship is like starting to fall down to the ground. So, and then after seeing like Grogu and Mando sneak across like the you know, the ship that they're on, or whatever you want to say, like the underground base that Gideon has, as they're sneaking throughout that, they end up finding that Gideon has probably like, I don't know, maybe like 12 or so, but clones of himself. So kind of reminiscent to like Snoke, right? But he has clones of himself. We come to find out later on that well, let's not skip ahead. Let's not skip ahead. But we find out that he has clones. Okay. So Mando ends up destroying them, and then we see Bo and the other trying to see, hold on. We see Bo. So we finally see like Bo and the other Mandalorians have this big battle with Gideon's troops, right? And this is Gideon's troops and ships, and this is also Gideon's troops on jetpacks, just as the Mandalorians are on their jetpacks as well. Big epic fight. This was crazy to see. This was crazy to see. Then on the other hand, while that's happening, you have Mando running into Gideon, and Grogu is there as well. All right. So basically, Gideon explains to Mando that, yeah, you ran into my secret facility where I was making clones. Now I was making clones of myself, and they were going to be just as strong as me in every way, but even better, because it was going to have a part that I don't usually have, and what it was going to include was for the clones to have the Force ability. All right, so you know, it's good that Mando basically destroyed those, but then also we find out that that's what, you know, prior in the other seasons, Mando stopped that from coming to a full fruition, because we find out that Gideon was planning to have like a full army of like Force using soldiers that were under his command, right? But Mando stopped that from the past and then to the present. So then we see Mando start fighting Gideon, and then like Grogu wants to help out, but then the Red Knights that took out Paz Vizsla on the last episode, they show up. They start fighting Grogu, and so Grogu is separated from Mando. So Mando is taking on Gideon. Grogu is being ambushed basically by 3 Red Knights, and they're separated. So it's looking bad, you know, really bad right now at this point for those 2 individuals. And then from there we see Bo and the others continue to fight Gideon soldiers. We see that Grogu's like really getting he's taking damage. He's taking damage in the IG-12 suit from the Red Knights. He takes so much damage in the suit that he has to get out of the suit and run and do flips and everything like that to try to avoid them. Like they end up beating the IG-12, like the robot, the husk, if you will. They end up beating it down to the point where it wasn't usable no more. And then we still continue to see Gideon and Mando fighting, right? And just as Gideon like fully and truly is getting the upper hand, Bo-Katan shows up, and then she ends up fighting against Gideon and telling Mando to go save Grogu. So Mando gets up, he goes to help out Grogu, take on the 3 Red Knights. So then Mando and Grogu do end up indeed taking out the 3 Red Knights. Gideon and Bo-Katan continue to fight. She's doing well, but then like Gideon definitely starts getting the upper hand. We still continue to see their ship, the ship that the Mandalorians had taken over, the Empire ship. We still continue to see that fall from the skies and going to eventually crash into Mandalore. And Axe is still in there. So as Gideon and Bo are fighting, it's crazy. Like Gideon ends up taking the dark saber while it's in Bo-Katan's hand, and he like squeezes the handle of the blade, like the hilt, and then it breaks, which then like the dark saber is therefore useless. Like it just cuts off, it's broken. I was like, what? How is that even possible? Like I don't know. I would figure like a saber like that would not be breakable, but I guess so. But he ends up breaking the saber, and then tells her like what are you gonna do now? Like that was everything that you needed, and now it's gone. So now you're screwed. Like basically, that's what he told her. Let's see. So then after that, we see Mando. He arrives to help out with Gideon, and he fights against Gideon with Grogu, with Bo-Katan, and all 3 of them are able to destroy him. Then from there, we see the armorer, and I'm not sure how much time had passed from that scene after they destroyed Gideon to the scene of where I'm talking about right now, where the armor is basically doing like a ceremony for Ragnar, past Vizsla's son. She's like knighting him with the waters of Mandalore. And then we see Grogu, and then he ends up getting adopted by Mando, which in return Mando tells the armor that he wants Grogu to go into like full training to become a Mandalorian. And because now he's adopted Grogu, he has the ability to give his blessings in order to the armor to enable that to happen. And then now Grogu's name is now Din Grogu. So we have the full name. Grogu's name is now Din Grogu. All right, we got Din Djarin, we got Din Grogu. So that's what it is now, for sure. So then, shortly after, Mando takes off in his Naboo ship and he goes to Navarro. He ends up talking to Greef Karga, and Greef Karga ends up being able to bring back IG-11, and like truly IG-11, with Mando's help, because Mando goes to visit Carson, the New Republic pilot, the old dude, the Asian guy. He goes to visit him in like a bar, and then at the bar there's a IG like piece. There's like a unit, and so Mando takes that and brings it back to Greef, and then therefore Greef is able to get IG-11 like completely fixed and restored. So now Greef rewards him with IG-11 again, and then we end up seeing Mando kind of settle down in his like new house or new cabin on Navarro, and Grogu's sitting there as well. IG-11 is the new sheriff of Navarro, and Mando is going to be secretly doing missions for the New Republic, helping them out, behind the drape. All right, but that's basically the whole episode. 3 of my favorite scenes would be Mando fighting against Gideon's soldiers when they had like those barriers, the barrier doors that had like the red color to it. Definitely reminiscent of episode 1 when Darth Maul was going against Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's one of my favorite scenes from that movie, and just to have it in the season finale for season 3, that was just dope, bro. Seeing him go through like 4, 5, 6 barriers, in which each barrier had different soldiers from Gideon, and each soldier and each barrier had different weapons. So it was almost like a game as well. So that was dope. My second favorite scene would be Grogu and Mando. Oh no, I'm sorry. My second favorite scene would be Mando and Grogu taking out the Red Knights. When Mando goes to go save Grogu, and then afterwards them two both just taking out the Red Knights together was a dope and epic scene. You know, son and father really doing the thing for sure, you know, and getting revenge for Paz, because, you know, those are the dudes that took out Paz on the last episode. So that'll be my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene would be Grogu and Mando and Bo versus Gideon. The whole fight, like when Bo was fighting Gideon, when Mando was fighting Gideon, and then when Bo and Mando and Grogu teamed up and fought Gideon and then destroyed him. The whole thing was just epic and dope. So that would be 3 of my favorite scenes. The grade for this, man, I'm gonna give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. All right, 9.5 out of 10. Definitely could have been 10 material. I just felt like the ending was lackluster, but everything else everything else about this episode was dope. The story, the things that were revealed to us, the action throughout, the different sets of action as well. Everything was dope, man. This was definitely a good episode, and also a good way to close out the season for season 3, right? But like I said, the ending was weak to me, but other than that, this episode was definitely strong. So 9.5 out of 10, definitely above average. If you guys saw this episode, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. What were some of your favorite scenes? What were some of your favorite episodes thus far in this whole season 3? Did you like this episode? Did you feel like this was a good season finale, or do you feel like they really flaked, especially with the ending? Let me know about that in the comments down below. All right, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I am Cali. Until next time.